What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another movie review. Today we are going to be reviewing the film Mid90s, which was released last year. Anyway, we have Nate on the line with us today. Nate, can you go ahead and say what's up?
Hello, everybody out there in YouTube land.
In YouTube land, that's right. What's up, everyone? It's good to see you guys here. So, Nate, we're talking about, I just told everyone we're talking about Mid90s today. And wanted to know if you had any thoughts on that just right off the bat, man.
So right off the bat, also, just wanted to clarify that Josh and I are very well qualified to review movies.
Totally qualified.
Josh has got a theater background.
This is very true. I have a degree in theater. This is true.
Yes, Josh has a theater degree, and I took one class on film, not even filmmaking, but the use of music in film in college. So
Well,
I think that qualifies me.
I think definitely it qualifies you. But Nate, not only that, you were also in several shows on the local TV station.
That is true.
As
yeah.
was I. And
That is.
and I also took an aesthetics of film class. And I have been an
yeah,
extra, and I've been an extra in several shows that were local in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and even Austin too.
That's true. You have been.
Yep.
Friday Night Lights, if I'm not mistaken.
Friday Night Lights, The Good Guys, Chase, Lone Star. Man, there are a few others. Oh, Dallas, the reboot of Dallas was in that.
Oh,
Yeah.
Were you in Prison Break also?
Nope, never made it to that one. Nope, didn't make it
Okay.
there.
Well,
But
anyways, I think our audience now can see that we are more than qualified to give an intelligent opinion upon these movies that we're reviewing.
yes, yeah, definitely. So Mid90s, man, I watched this just a couple nights ago, and yeah, I've got some thoughts on it. But you want to give a little bit of background about what this film is about?
Sure thing. So yes, and so it's fresher in your mind than it is in mine, unfortunately, because it's been about 2 weeks since I saw it. But yes, so it's set, like it says, in the mid-90s. I think actually 1995 is when it's set. It's Jonah Hill's feature debut. He wrote and directed it. It's a passion project of his. He grew up in LA in the mid-90s, skateboarding. And as he will tell you, he sucked at it, but it was something he loved doing. He loved the whole scene. He loved being around skateboarders. And so he always knew he wanted to make a movie about it.
Right. Yeah, that's interesting because I wasn't really sure. I could see Jonah Hill being, in the skateboarding scene and things like that, but I never really knew for sure that he was actually, in that scene.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy to hear him talk about it. And I mean, other people, from the scene, like, oh yeah, I remember Jonah from those days.
Yep.
So in fact, there was a skate shop around there that had him as one of their first customers. And when he paid, he wrote on one of the dollar bills, Jonah the Jew.
Oh, really?
They hung it up in the shop because they thought it was so funny, never knowing, if he would go on to become what he did.
Wow. Well, let me say one more thing before you go any further, Nate, because we need to let the people know, first of all, we want to thank you guys for subscribing to this channel. It means so much to us, each and every single one of you guys. And we've had a lot of subscribers lately, and we want to say it's really cool to see you guys, really cool to see you here watching these reviews that we're doing. If you're not a subscriber, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and that notification bell. That way you don't miss any of these videos and these reviews that we're doing here as a little test here in the next month or so. All right, Nate. So back to Mid90s.
So one of the things, the most controversial aspect of everything that I'd heard leading up to this movie is the fact that these kids actually talk as though they came out of the 90s, as opposed to the way kids would talk these days.
Well,
I'm not talking about using profanity, which, they do a lot, but how they use gay slurs or homosexual.
Oh yeah, I
homophobic
guess that's
language,
true.
Language and what would certainly be considered misogynist and degrading towards women and homosexuals and things like that.
Yep.
And how they made it they make it sound just like people we knew growing up in the 90s, talking, just certainly certain subset of people.
Right. Yep.
A way of life. That's how you talk. And, I appreciated that Jonah made it very true. Like, this could have actually been a documentary filmed in the 90s as opposed to someone doing it in the mid 2018. 27 started in 2014.
I see that as being true, but it's at the same time too, man. I mean, and not talking about the vernacular or anything, but talking about seeing what's going on and seeing the skate scene. That wasn't our scene at all, man. I mean, we had nobody's. No, I mean, no one in our town of Wills Point was skating but us. And like I said, in the reaction to this trailer, which you can see in one of these cards right up here, but none of those were actually. What am I trying to say? Like, we didn't have that same experience.
No.
Because there weren't many people skateboarding at all at that time.
No, you're right. This is definitely as a narrative arc that could not be described our experience, because we didn't. The only part that kind of did was there were 2 times that I remember specifically where older skaters helped us out and showed us a couple of things.
Yeah, that's true. And we did ride around with them, if you recall, riding in the back of the truck to, a town about 20 miles away. Mm-hmm. Yep. And not only that, but, they had some makeshift ramps. They had a launch ramp that, they gave us.
Right, yeah.
So, yeah, you're right about that.
Yeah. I mean, we did have that, but it just wasn't to the extent that they had in the film here.
Right, yep. So let's talk a little bit about the characters in the film. Obviously, you've got your main character, Stevie, right?
Stevie, yep. Uh-huh.
Yeah. So hold on a sec. Let's see if I can bring these up here. So you got your main character. No, that's not him. That's Ruben. Where'd he go? So this kid right here in the blue shirt. It's an ad. That kid's sitting down. I want to talk about that. First of all, let's talk about the friends, but let's talk about the family first, right? The family dynamics, because that's kind of how it starts off. It starts off, and warning everyone, there will be spoilers in this. If you haven't seen the film and you don't want to be spoiled, then you might want to go watch this before continuing. Otherwise, definitely continue to watch this recording and this review of what's going on. So, as you see in this picture right here, Nate, I'm showing a picture of, looks like Jonah Hill sitting here directing. He's talking to Ian, the brother. He's also talking to Stevie. Do you know their names? Their actual names? Let's see.
Lucas Hedges is the older brother, and Sonny Soljic is the younger brother, the main character.
Right, and so here's the contrast that I see in the 90s. I don't know if you recall this, but I do recall this. You had the preppy, kind of like the preps, and then you had, kind of like, I guess, the outcast or whatever. I kind of fell into the average Joe, but probably fell more in line in thinking with more of the outcasts.
I was definitely the same way. That's the thing. I mean, I can relate, especially as we got further into the skate scene. Yeah. Of adopting that style. Especially things that we would see in Thrasher magazine. Yeah. And then when we would go to the mall and Gadzooks and Fast Forward.
Right.
Because those were the only skate shops we had available to us at that time.
Right, we had to go all the way to Mesquite, which was about 40 miles away.
Right.
To see these.
Was hard to do. We couldn't just skate down to the local shop and pick up new stuff.
Right.
But of course, then we also got a lot of stuff, at Walmart too. One, it's right there. But two, it's a hell of a lot cheaper than the skate clothes. Were like $50 for a pair of pants. It's like, we're just gonna put holes in those. It's ridiculous. I can't afford that.
I want to say that most of it stayed true, but I felt like there were some things left out as far as, you know, what the 90s had. I didn't see much flannel or any flannel.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit. You didn't hear grunge music that much.
Right.
You heard it some, right?
Mm-hmm.
I heard more like pop music in it than I did actual grunge music, and maybe that was to appeal to, you know, a broader audience. Not really sure. What do you think about that?
So my thought is, you know, this is in a very specific area. You know, like this is, you know, a very LA centric. You know, yes, it's you know, appealing to a broader, you know, group, you know, cross section. But I think it's also telling a very specific story of a time and a place in LA.
Yep.
And maybe at that time and place, I haven't heard anything from Jonah Hill discussing about why, you know, the omission of grunge music, you know, why,
Right.
you know, because in '95, you know, Nirvana was still popular.
Yeah.
Foo Fighters definitely, you know, had just come out and they were popular.
Well, and Pearl
Stone Temple
Jam, and,
Pilots,
you know.
Pearl Jam, Soundgarden was still big.
Yep.
So, yeah, it's interesting that those were not featured in. I don't know if it was, you know, maybe licensing issues.
Right.
Because I know, you know, Jonah, to get the music in the movie, you know, called in a lot of favors with a lot of these artists.
Yep.
So that could have been an issue. It could be just at the time they just were not. It wasn't big for that scene,
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to, you know, like, you know, kids like us, for whatever reason. What I did like, you know, is, you know, that, you know, the use of the hip hop.
Yes,
fact,
definitely. That was really good.
You know, because, you know, that was big for us. You know, that was, you know, and that was one of the things. You know, skate kids and things. You know, we were exposed to all different kinds of music.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't just the rock or the punk. You know, as you know, skateboarding tended to be, especially in the '80s. It was a wider range of, you know, musical
Right.
influence.
Yep.
And especially, you know, as like skate videos in the later '90s, you know, would show, you know, they soundtracked, you know, using all different kinds of music, from
Mm-hmm.
hip hop to classic rock to punk, even classical music.
Yep. Well, you know, and you know, all that music, I thought it was it was woven into the film really well. I will agree with you there. You know, but talking about the family dynamics, you know, Ian was this kid who was obviously like really frustrated. Like, I felt like there was a lot deeper story that maybe they didn't get into. Maybe it was cut out into the family dynamics surrounding them. You know, especially, I mean, he would always beat Stevie, right? And
Right, yeah.
and you know, Stevie's like, man, Stevie's always getting hurt, but you know, this guy would beat Stevie when he get home for going into his room, or for doing something dumb, for telling on him, for not owning up to something that maybe he did. And and you know, one time he beat Stevie, and then he started crying. He's got really upset with himself for doing it, and that was kind of strange to me, because I'm like, okay, you didn't really go too far into the storyline, and not only that, but you know, when one of the characters came up to him and started punking on him, right? He didn't do much. He tried to act like he was cool and stuff, but you know, obviously he didn't do anything.
Yeah, no, there's definitely something more there. You know, obviously, you know, they've got a broken home. They probably have two different fathers, I would venture to say. And I would venture to say that, you know, there's probably some jealousy issues
Right.
there between the brothers. Ian looking at, like, you know, Stevie's character, or Stevie, the role of Stevie,
Yep.
as maybe the mom's favorite, because, like, you know, maybe she had a better interaction with Stevie's father than she did with Ian's father, or
That may be it. And you know, when they're sitting there playing, like after Stevie had found his friends, or you know, kind of got connected, they're sitting there playing a video game, and this was after, you know, that thing happened with Ian, where what are we calling
yeah.
what are we calling this character? Duck ship.
Yeah.
It's
I
too
guess
explicative.
That's the PG way to say it.
Yeah. So yeah, like Doug Ship, after he had punked Ian, they're sitting on the couch, and Stevie's all like trying to be looking cool in his beanie and his hoodie. He's kicked back, you know, and Ian shows a little respect for him at that point.
Yeah.
And I'm showing that on the screen right now. That picture.
Okay, yes.
Yep. But anyway, that was interesting. So let's get into the characters of Stevie's friend, with Stevie's friends here. So we had several, like, what were there, 4 friends?
Yeah, so there's Ruben.
Yep.
There's 4th grade, Ray, and Duck Ship.
I have to laugh to say that. Yeah. Yeah, so...
So I mean, you know, they felt like, you know, 4 very distinct types of people that, you know, you would come across, you know, basically in any group of friends, you know.
Right.
But certainly, you know, in the skate community for sure. But, you know, you could definitely see, you know, those standing in for, you know, real life, you know, people that, you know, across everybody's, you know, group of friends. You got, you know, the one that's got some money. You know, Duck Ship comes from a family that has money for sure.
Yep.
So he doesn't worry about things as much, and that certainly comes through in his attitude about life and responsibilities and everything.
Right.
And then, of course, then you've got, you know, Ruben, who's just the kid, you know, who was the young kid hanging out with the older kids.
There's a lot of jealousy issues going on there, huh?
A lot of jealousy issues coming on, and you know, he's still trying to figure out how to act, and you can tell it in the way, you know, he tells Stevie not to say thank you because that's gay. Yeah,
that was strange, man. I was like, what's he talking about? And then when Ray finally gives Stevie a board, he's like, I want to say thank you, but is it okay? And Ray's like, dude, that's just common courtesy. Of course it's okay to say thank you.
Right, exactly. Like, oh my God, he got such bad advice, you know, from Ruben there, you know.
So
and then,
let's.
Of course, and then Ray's character is, you know, kind of the wise one of the group. The guy, you know, you can tell is going somewhere, even though he doesn't come from anything.
Yeah, he has his stuff together for sure. You can definitely tell.
Yeah.
Watching this.
Yes.
And you know, not all of them had their stuff together. Obviously, you know, you see the like Ray and Duck Ship being best friends. You see them starting to split apart over time because all Duck Ship wants to do is party, and then Ray's like, I want to make this something, this skateboarding thing. What I'm doing, I want to make it a thing, you know, in my life.
Yep.
And that really, you know, obviously frustrated Duck Ship, or the fact that, you know, Duck Ship wasn't paying attention, or not paying attention. Duck Ship wasn't like, you know, wanting the same things anymore. It was frustrating Ray, you know?
Yeah. Because I mean, he could see wasted potential. Because I mean, you know, Duck Ship could skate well. He just, you know, he wasn't putting his whole, you know, passion into that. You know, he was distracted, you know, by these other things, which, you know, aren't going to serve him in any great capacity.
Right, exactly. Well, I want to share something that somebody put on our webpage, Slick Rick Forever. Or not our webpage, our YouTube channel. So I want to read this out loud, and this was in response to the Mid90s trailer reaction, in which I did a few nights ago. He said, I already saw the movie. As a 90s kid, I had mixed feelings about it. One side of me was intrigued, another wanted out. The Duck Ship character ruined it for me, and Nikel Smith's character owned his part. The Stevie kid, Sonny, was kind of how kids with single moms were back in the 90s, so that was a little refreshing. Overall, the movie was 6 out of 10. So, what do you think about this?
Yeah, I mean, you know, the Duck Ship character, you know, he was an idiot. He was just like, why do these guys still hang out with them? I had trouble seeing that, but I could kind of see it, like, you know, especially if they've grown up together.
Right.
It's kind of, you know, I could see, you know, hanging around someone, and, you know, when you're that close to someone, you don't see those annoying traits that everyone else does.
Well, you know, I've got to ask Slick Rick a question here about it, though. is I'm wondering if it was the character that ruined it for him, or if it was, like the acting that ruined it for him.
Yeah, I would be curious. Yeah.
Yeah. So everyone, anyone that's watching this or watches this at any time, hit us up in the comments below. Let us know what you think about the characters. Which character was your favorite? Which character was the worst? We'd also like to know what you would rate it. Slick Rick Forever rates it a 6 out of 10.
Okay.
All right. So let's talk about some of the Easter eggs.
All right. So yes. So there are some big names from the '90s skate scene that pop up throughout this, which is really cool to see, as well as people who weren't in the skate scene but are associated with it.
Right.
So that was cool. Do you want to list off a couple of the big names there?
Oh, well, Chad Muska, first of all, one of the homeless characters, homeless guys. Why don't you go ahead and go through some of these? I'm pulling up some images here, or trying to.
Okay. Yeah, so Chad Muska, right off the bat, one of the biggest ones right there. Yeah, playing a homeless guy. The other homeless guy that talks to Ray, a little philosophizing on life and everything. That's Del the Funky Homo Sapien, who was, of course, instrumental, in the backpack rap scene back in the '90s that blew up. Him along with the Far Side and De La Soul and Tribe Called Quest and all those guys. Then, of course, Harmony Korine, who plays Todd, who is one of Stevie's mom's love interests, or well, at least you see him coming out of the bedroom there at one point, making a brief cameo, which is funny. The writer of Kids there.
Right.
Chico Brenes, Rick Howard, Aaron Meza.
Yeah, so who are the cops?
Yeah, so that's Chico Brenes, Rick Howard, I think it's Aaron Meza, and I forget the other one. But they're all pro skaters from the '90s.
Right.
Rick Howard wrote for Blockhead, Chico for World Industries and Girl and Chocolate. And I'm blanking on the others right offhand.
Yeah. So overall, what did you think of the skating? Was that skate style from the '90s?
Yeah, definitely.
Yep.
The things I remember seeing in Thrasher, and we didn't, unfortunately, we didn't really have skate videos at the time that we actually had access to. But I remember seeing, like at Fast Forward and Gadzooks, when they would have TVs playing the videos, watching, like the 411 video part.
Right, yep.
Things like that. Just, like, oh yeah, that's totally the way I remember, people skating, and, that whole street style, like, because no one was skating ramps at that point.
No. Everything was street for sure.
Yeah. So I think you captured that well. Let's talk about real quick about the look of the film, which is one of the most distinct things about it. Hold on,
1 minute before you do that, Nate.
Uh-huh.
I want to talk to everybody about this. Some of you guys had asked a question last time about some of our merch, our hats, and some of the shirts that we have. You can find those at geezerskate.co. And that's in the description in this video right down below. So if you're interested in checking out our merch or just our website in general, seeing what we're all about, you can check it out down there. So anyway, Nate, moving on. So we're talking about the style of the film here.
The look in particular.
Or the look, right. The look of the film.
Yeah.
So I kind of... Go ahead.
Yeah, you talked a bit about that in the trailer reaction.
Right, yes. And interestingly enough, it was shot in the 4:3 format, and I didn't expect to see that. I was wondering if that was just for the trailer initially, but to see that go throughout the entire film was pretty cool. I don't think I like watching films like that in general anymore. I've gotten so used to widescreen, the 16:9. But man, everything that we shot, I'm showing their VHS tapes again, Nate. Everything that we shot when, we were kids, were in that 4:3 format.
Exactly. So that's what makes it feel even more authentic.
Yes. I think that was a really good directional decision that Jonah made.
And it was funny because he was talking about, the challenges of shooting in 4:3, and things you wouldn't even think about, like they had to work with the projectionist, to actually do something different than they usually do.
Wow, really?
Yeah, because they weren't set up to do a 4:3 format movie, and the way theaters are set up now.
So it was like actually shot 4:3, like there wasn't like cropping on the sides or anything like that.
No, it was actually shot in. Yeah. So they had, so it was actually shot on film.
Do you know what they shot it on?
Part of it I know was shot 16 millimeter.
Oh wow. Okay. Cool.
Yeah. So I don't know about the rest of it. I would assume some kind of maybe Panasonic or
right
period correct camcorders or something.
Yeah.
And then one other thing. I'm sorry?
Oh, I was going to say, excuse me, guys. We got a dog whining in the background here. It's my dog.
Oh, okay. No worries.
All right, go ahead.
Another interesting factoid about the 4:3. So when Jonah made the decision to shoot it in 4:3 and approached the movie studio about doing this movie in 4:3, of course, their initial thing was like, "You've got to be crazy. There's no commercially viable film is shot in 4:3," and so his calling card was there's one movie that has made over $100 million.
Oh yeah.
4:3 in the 4:3 aspect ratio.
Really?
Do you know what that film is?
No.
I didn't know what that film
No,
was.
this is like trivia, and I think I'm failing at it right now.
Oh, I completely failed. I had no idea.
So what was that film?
The Grand Budapest Hotel.
No kidding.
Anderson.
Are you kidding?
Yes, I am not.
Wow.
That's the only film shot in 4:3 that has grossed over $100 million.
Wow. Well, do you know where Mid90s stands right now?
I'm guessing it's nowhere near 100.
No, I don't think so. I don't think it's even close.
I'm guessing a few million at most, maybe 7 or 8 million.
Right, yeah.
Maybe 10 million. It's hard to say.
Yeah, it almost seemed like an experimental film to some degree. The storyline was good overall, but it wasn't the best.
Yeah.
It wasn't great. It made me feel like, obviously it had some impact emotionally on me, especially toward the end whenever, Duck Ship's getting in the... And this was a decision that really bothered me. I want to say this. Ray being this guy who has this clear head, he's always like making the right decisions. Duck Ship's about to get in the car and he's totally blasted. He's totally wasted.
Yeah.
He's going to get in the car. Ray stands there, looks at him for a few minutes, and then... he's like, okay, everybody, get in the car. I'm like, wait a minute. No, you say, I'm going to take your keys or I'm driving or something like that. And I was like, that didn't quite seem right. But then I went back and I thought about, well, they're also teenagers. Or,
yes. They make even
bad...
the smartest ones make dumb choices.
Right, exactly. And that's where it kind of threw me. I was like, no way, this guy... And dude, when they're in that car and that car flies by them and you see fourth grade kind of jump, my heartbeat sped up probably double whatever it was at the time. That sound right there. I don't know where that came from.
Yeah, somebody who thinks it's a little Fast and Furious just went past me.
Yeah, that was great timing though.
I planned it that way. Let's just say that was my seed. That's our special effects budget right there.
Yeah. Yep. So that was crazy to me, and that made me freak out. And then of course, spoiler guys, they wreck.
Yeah. That whole thing, man. Like I was freaking out, because I've been in a few major car wrecks myself, and so I can, I can feel it anytime there's a wreck on TV. I'm like, I'm right there in it.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, ouch.
Yeah, I know, man. I hear you there. I'm just like scary. And looking at a picture right now, and this is daytime. It looks like maybe they're setting up for one of those shots in the car. You got Jonah Hill laying in the back, and looks like maybe this director of photography or camera guy laying in the back, kind of getting ready to shoot this. But man, I gotta say, honestly, of the two films we've reviewed so far, Mid90s and Minding the Gap, while this film was good, I personally really enjoy the authenticity and the reality of Minding the Gap better than the story of Mid90s.
Well, and I'm glad I saw Mid90s first.
Oh, yeah?
Because Minding the Gap is just such a much more powerful story.
Right.
One, because it's actually true.
Yep.
And then two, just the raw honesty of the entire thing.
Yes.
I mean, so I think if we had seen them further apart,
maybe so.
I think it would be a different thing, because it's really hard to think about one without thinking about the other.
It is hard, especially like when you've seen them a week apart, or I've seen them a week apart, and I'm obviously comparing the two. With some, I went into this obviously with some expectations,
right?
And those expectations weren't quite met. So I can see how maybe seeing Mid90s first would have been better.
Yeah, so I reacted more strongly to it having seen it first and not knowing anything about Minding the Gap at all when I saw Mid90s. That definitely helped.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, my only touch point really, was Kids, which I hadn't seen since the mid-90s itself.
Yep.
In terms of a raw skate film about, young adolescents.
Well, that's a good segue, Nate. Did you ever find out if Kids is streaming anywhere?
It is not.
It is not. So we will probably be reacting to the trailer in the next couple of weeks to Kids. What do we have coming? Go ahead.
If anybody has a copy of Kids that we could borrow,
yes,
that would be awesome because I'd love to see it again and do a full-on review of it. We haven't seen it since it came out in '95.
No, and I was telling Nate just the other day that I remember Kids, and I remember the character Telly. I remember it being not about skateboarding, but apparently there was skateboarding in it, and I don't remember that at all, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, we would love to react to that. So if you guys have a copy of that, or how we can get access to that, definitely let us know down there in the comments below. But what are we going to be doing next week? What did we decide on?
Oh, well, that's also a good segue into we're going to release some more '90s footage of us.
Oh, that's right. And that will be when? Next Wednesday.
Next Wednesday at noon.
That's right.
That is the day when we release that, release new content.
That's our main release day.
That's our main release day, although we've been releasing stuff on Tuesdays and Thursdays as well, which is great.
Yep.
But before we finish up talking about mid-90s, I got to say, one of my favorite things was the montage at the end.
Oh, yes. Fourth Grade's video.
Yes.
Yeah, Strong Baby Productions.
Pulled it all together, and it was like, okay, this could truly be his future, if he doesn't listen to, the harassment of his friends there.
Yep.
But I loved that montage. I loved the song that it was set to, Passing Me By the Far Side, from their first album, Bizarre Ride to the Far Side, which is one of the best hip-hop albums ever.
Yeah, yep.
In fact, the first time I learned about the Far Side was in Thrasher magazine. There was an ad for that album in, I think it was like '93, an issue I had from '93. And so I went out and I remember getting the album right afterwards and just being blown away. And, I love that song, Passing Me By. And so the fact that they used that to soundtrack the montage for the end of the film. I was just like, that's freaking awesome.
Dude,
that
yeah.
right there says that right there just, like it's the 90s all over again for me.
It was, and that visual of the fish, all those fisheye shots, because that's how so many skate videos were shot back then. I mean, they're still shot that way, but you saw it all the time back then.
Right, and now it feels like it's an homage to that 90s style.
Yeah, exactly. And Nate, I also want to touch on one more thing regarding the character Stevie, and one thing that Ray said at the end. Ray said to Stevie, he said, "Man, you can take a fall or take a hit or something like that more than anybody I know," and that dude tried to ollie this gap that was like 3 foot wide, and the kid could barely ollie. What the heck?
Yes, and then he fell and like took that nasty.
He fell about 8 feet, maybe 6 feet onto a picnic table right below that gap, and he was just lying there. And I'm just like, dude, why would you do that? That is so hardcore, especially when you don't even know what you're doing.
That's just being young and wanting to show off for the older kids right there, man.
You're right about that.
But even when I was trying to do that, I did not have that kind of bravery.
No, not at all. Not even close.
No.
Well, Nate, I want to go ahead and sign off here and say thank you to everyone who has watched this. Be sure you watch one of our other videos right over in one of these little frames right over here, and hit that subscribe button. Mostly, just come back here and check out our review next week, and you'll find out what that is then. All right, guys, I will talk to you later. Nate, you want to say peace?
Dudettes.
Dudes and dudettes.
Oh, yeah, I was just saying, bye-bye, ladies and gentlemen. We thank you for watching, and, let us know what you think of all this here.
Peace out.